Tonight is one of the most important nights in Fianna Fáil's history. Each of us here knows why. Each and every one of us knows the human truth of the collapse of the global economy, the families under pressure, the constituents who've played by the rules, done the hard yards, and can't believe what's happened to them. They can't believe it, and it fills them with anger. Deep, deep anger. Much of that anger is directed at us, and it'll continue to be directed at us. Ireland has been swamped by a global disaster that has been greatly complicated on the home front by economic treason. There's no nice way to describe it. It was economic treason, no more, no less than that. And in common with the people, the length and breadth of this country, I welcome the Garda action that was taken this week, as I know all of you do. I welcome that action against people who've used the Irish economy as their own personal piggy bank. And the problem, let us be clear, is one of reckless endangerment of our nation. That's no exaggeration. That's not over the top. The fact is that a small number of sophisticated manipulators, money manipulators, endangered the economic survival of our people. There's no parallel in history for the damage that has been done, except perhaps Cromwell. And even Cromwell wasn't motivated by reasons of personal gain. We condemn them. Fianna Fáil condemns them. Let that go out loud and clear. We're the party of government. We've been chosen by a majority of voters repeatedly over the past quarter of a century. We have, as a consequence, been in government for the majority of that time. Of course, leaders in every sector of Irish society know prominent Fianna Fáil members of the party. It's inevitable. People in banking, people in construction would know and would have dealt with senior Fianna Fáil figures down through those years. But that doesn't amount to guilt by association. Knowing someone and knowing you have to deal with them doesn't mean that you share their vices or their practices. It doesn't mean because you know a banker or a developer that you tolerate bad practice or rule breaking. I don't know about you, but I'm fed up to about here with cheap assumptions about members of this party. I, on your behalf, on behalf of the members of Fianna Fáil, categorically refute the unsupported rumours that Fianna Fáil approve of bank directors giving themselves larger loans or breaking any rules. And the smear that if we had known we wouldn't have done anything about it, that we would have approved it, is precisely that, a smear. And it's not the first smear that was ever put against Fianna Fáil. We didn't know, we couldn't, and we will never, never condone that kind of practice. It's important, ladies and gentlemen, it's important for all of us here to reaffirm the reality that Fianna Fáil stands for what it always stood for, a Republican Party in the real true, deep sense of that word. A party that protects the weak and the vulnerable. A party that stands up to vested interests. And a party that values hard work and enterprise. These values are more important than ever at a time when this government is dealing with a complex new situation that gets more complicated and more difficult every day. We are making choices, Hobson's choices, choices between bad and worse. But if we're not brutally effective quickly in fixing our finances, then others will do it for us. If that were to happen, we could protest, but nothing would change. If outsiders dictate our economic policies, we won't be worried about a pension levy. We'd be looking at pay cuts of 30 or 40%, or more even. We'd be looking at job losses and job cuts. We'd be looking at very serious situation for Ireland. And we in Fianna Fáil will fight to ensure that that does not happen. But preventing that causes huge and justified anger. As individuals and families who worked very, very hard find themselves now poorer than they should be, find themselves in a space they shouldn't be. That's the truth, and we must not deny that truth. Much of the anger, as I say, is directed against us. That's a truth. We mustn't shirk that truth. Much of that anger will continue to be directed at us. That's a truth. We must live with it. I'm not saying it's not painful. It's very painful. It's painful personally, and it's painful collectively for all of us. But it's nothing like as painful as the problems facing so many workers, so many parents, so many students, and so many older people throughout the length and breadth of this country. It's our duty to let people out there know that we understand the personal realities of this recession, not to minimize them, not to make empty, optimistic noises and pretend they change those realities. They don't. But it's also our duty and our responsibility to take this country by the scruff of the neck and point towards recovery. We're the party of government. We have the capacity to turn this economy round. We can do it, and more to the point, we're the only party that will do it. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Cowan has spent the last few months delivering in a dire situation. He's watched across the floor of the House the opposition parties not delivering principled opposition. Instead, they've delivered cheap dramatics, not caring about the consequences of what they're saying. Fine Gael and the Labour Party will someday regret the way that they danced around our wounded economy. They'll regret the way they happily spread a dangerous message to the world about a country they claim to love and serve as we do. They have not served Ireland well. In Fianna Fáil, we know leadership when we see it. We respond to it with a passion. Now is the time to demonstrate that passion. Now is the time to demonstrate that this party of government, is led by the right man at the right time. Ladies and gentlemen, Córja Ina Fáil, it's my privilege to call on you to demonstrate Fianna Fáil's purpose and confidence in Brian Cowan, the man that will lead us through this recession.